So we designed the worksheet, we inputted the data, we did some calculations, we did some formatting, and now let me show you some basic ways of how you can insert different charts. So the way you would do it, first of all, just get familiar that if you go under insert option, there is actually various charts options that you have to input. But let's say we want to see different expense categories and see how they contribute to the total, so maybe a distribution. So if you click A9 and then select everything through miscellaneous, and then you hit Control and select another area, you now have both the categories and the numbers that you want to present visually. Okay, so the book, what they want you to do is, I guess I have to show it to you, is create a pie chart. And we can certainly do that. And as you do that, there's a number of options that you can do. There are different design options. And here it is. Now, this pie charts is a really bad way of presenting data. I know that some people still prefer it. They like to see it visually, but really you can see the difference between these two categories, or maybe this and this one. It's really hard to see that. So my recommendation to you is to avoid pie chart as much as you can. There's only a really few extreme examples where pie chart is more effective than anything else. There are always better options than the pie chart, in my opinion. I guess always is a hard word to say in terms of it's 100% always, but think really hard before you do it as the pie chart. You can once you created this pie chart, if you go into these design options, they show you some other options that you can have. Just kind of show you how they change as you go through them. Now all of them to me are bad, extremely bad. I just want to show you that the options are here. What I still like to do is actually change the chart type, and there's nothing wrong showing it as a bar chart. It's much quicker and easier and more effective to represent this data. So here it is. I'll select this one, and you can see much clearer what each category is and how much it makes up of the total. And here we are. You can do a number of changes here, but I just wanted to show you that you can certainly do that. You can change your chart title. You can name it whatever you want. You can label this series in terms of whatever they represent. Another option I want to show you is that you can move this chart into another worksheet. Right now it is an object within sheet 4. You can create a new sheet, and here it is. It's just brand new one created here as chart 1. You can move it around and do whatever you want to do with it. Another thing that I want to show you is that you can rename these things, tabs. If you right click, do rename, and let's say call it personal budget. There are a number of other options that you have actually with tabs. I don't know that you need to do all of them, but one of them is tab color, right? So you can just select whatever the color you want. Let's say orange. And maybe tab colors represent in this worksheet we do calculations, in the other one we do some kind of a reporting, for example. And last thing is to show you how you can, now that you did some of the charting capabilities, obviously there's much more advanced ones. I'm not going to show you all of them, but this is just an example. Let me show you how you can print this. If you do file and then print, this is one option. It shows you how it's going to display it. You can change the orientation. Right now it's portrait. You can make it landscape, and it will do it like this. It happens to fit. If it doesn't, you can always select one and one here in terms of the the length and the width, and that will force it as well if you want to do it like that. and now it's ready for printing. If you go back, you can also do a selection like this, and if you go to page layout, print area, and then set print area, what's going to do is, see here, change this range, it's print area. So if I click here, you select print area, it's going to select it. And now when you go in and print, you can print selection, right? And this happens to be exactly the selection as well, so that's why it's the same. But this is just a little trick of how you can do it. There's a lot of things that you can change here in terms of the printing options and margins and scaling. You can also click on page setup, a little bit more advanced options here, adding header, footer, anything on the sheet where you want to repeat something as you print every time. So here are the options, and that's it. This is the basic introduction to Excel. Some of the ways you can input data, calculate, use formulas and functions, do formatting, and some basic charting. So what I'm asking you to do now is simply save this file. Just do File, Save As. You can name this file. You can maybe put your first and your last name. You click simply Save, and then submit it to the Blackboard link. That way I know you went through it, so that you can get some points for that activity.